The rain hammered against the windows of our small cottage in the Cotswolds, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, our lives, Genevieve's and mine, had been a tapestry woven with shared dreams, quiet evenings by the fire, and the comfortable rhythm of a love I believed was unbreakable. I'm Alaric, a mechanic by trade, and at 46 I thought I knew everything there was to know about my wife. I was wrong. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Genevieve, a librarian, always had a quiet, bookish charm, but lately there was a new energy about her. She'd spend hours on her phone, a secretive smile playing on her lips, and when I'd ask what she was doing, she'd brush it off with a vague, "Just catching up with friends, Alaric." The late nights at the library became more frequent, the excuses more elaborate. I tried to shake off the unease, attributing it to her simply needing more space, more independence. After all, we'd been together since we were teenagers. Maybe she was just rediscovering herself. But then came the scent. A faint, unfamiliar cologne clung to her clothes one evening, a sharp, musky fragrance that was definitely not mine. When I hesitantly questioned her, she looked me straight in the eye and said, "It must be from the library, Alaric. Someone probably spilled something." I wanted to believe her desperately, but the seed of doubt had been planted, and it began to take root, poisoning my peace of mind. I started paying closer attention, noticing the little things I'd previously overlooked. The way she'd flinch when I touched her, the way her eyes would dart away when I looked at her too intently. The phone calls she'd take in the garden, her voice hushed and secretive. It was like living with a stranger, a ghost of the woman I loved. The breaking point came on our 20th wedding anniversary. I'd planned a surprise trip to Paris, a city we'd always dreamed of visiting together. I'd booked a cozy little hotel near the Seine, made reservations at a romantic restaurant, and even bought her a beautiful diamond pendant, a symbol of our enduring love. I presented it to her that morning. Her eyes widened, but not with the joy I expected. There was a flicker of something else there, guilt, perhaps. "Alaric, I can't go," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I have to work. There's a conference at the library and I absolutely have to be there." My heart sank. 20 years and she was choosing a conference over our anniversary trip. The excuses had worn thin, the doubts had solidified into a chilling certainty. I knew with a sickening dread that something was terribly wrong. "What's going on, Genevieve?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Tell me the truth." She avoided my gaze, fidgeting with the pendant. "Nothing, Alaric, I told you it's just work. Don't lie to me," I pleaded. "Please, I deserve the truth." Finally, she broke down, tears streaming down her face. "Okay, fine," she sobbed. "There is someone else." The words hit me like a physical blow, knocking the wind out of me. The room seemed to spin, the rain outside intensifying, as if the heavens themselves were weeping for my shattered world. "Who?" I managed to choke out, the question tasting like ash in my mouth. It's Evander," she confessed, her voice barely audible. "He works at the library." Evander, a younger, charismatic colleague she'd mentioned a few times. It even met him once. He seemed perfectly pleasant, harmless. How could I have been so blind? "How long?" I asked, the pain searing through me. "A few months," she admitted, her eyes filled with shame. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to, didn't mean for it." I repeated, my voice rising. "You're having an affair, Genevieve. You're betraying our marriage, our life together, and you didn't mean for it." The anger surged through me, a burning rage that threatened to consume me. I wanted to scream, to lash out, to break things, but I forced myself to remain calm, to maintain some semblance of control. "Get out," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "Get out of my house." She looked at me, shocked. "Alaric, please don't do this. We can work through this. I'll end it with Evander, I promise." "It's too late, Genevieve," I said, my heart breaking into a million pieces. "You've already broken everything." She left that night, taking a suitcase filled with her clothes and a lifetime of memories. As I watched her drive away, the rain still falling, I felt a profound sense of emptiness, a void where my heart used to be. The next few weeks were a blur of grief and anger. I barely ate, barely slept. I spent my days wandering aimlessly around the cottage, haunted by her absence, by the ghost of our former life. Our friends, Lothar and Braunt, tried to comfort me, but their words felt hollow, inadequate. How could they possibly understand the depth of my pain? I considered confronting Evander, but I knew that wouldn't solve anything. He was just a symptom of the problem, a pawn in Genevieve's game. The real betrayal came from her, from the woman I had loved and trusted for 20 years. Then one day, while sorting through some old documents, I stumbled upon something that changed everything. It was a box filled with old letters, letters from Genevieve to a man named Anselm, dating back to before we were married. Anselm was her childhood sweetheart, a man she had been deeply in love with before she met me. As I read the letters, a chilling realization dawned on me. Genevieve had never truly loved me. I was just a placeholder, a substitute for the man she had lost. She had settled for me, built a life with me, but her heart had always belonged to someone else. The anger returned, but this time it was different. It was a cold, calculating anger, fueled by a desire for revenge. I had been a fool, a pawn in her game, and I was determined to make her pay. I started by contacting a solicitor, initiating divorce proceedings. I made sure to protect my assets, ensuring that Genevieve would receive as little as possible. I wasn't interested in her money. I wanted to hurt her, to make her feel the pain she had inflicted on me. Then, I turned my attention to Evander. I knew that he was deeply involved in a local amateur theater group, and I used my connections to spread rumors about his professional conduct, insinuating that he was using his position at the library to solicit favors from young female patrons. The rumors quickly gained traction, and soon, Evander found himself facing a formal investigation. His reputation was ruined, his career in jeopardy, but my revenge didn't stop there. I knew that Genevieve was deeply insecure about her appearance, constantly comparing herself to other women. So I started sending her anonymous messages, criticizing her looks, her weight, her style. I knew it was cruel, but I didn't care. I wanted to chip away at her self-esteem, to make her feel as worthless as she had made me feel. As the divorce proceedings dragged on, I learned that Genevieve and Evander had moved in together. They were living in a small, run-down apartment, struggling to make ends meet. Evander's career was in shambles, and Genevieve was working long hours at a low-paying job. Their dream of a new life together had quickly turned into a nightmare. One evening, I received a phone call from Genevieve. Her voice was trembling, desperate. "Alaric, please," she begged. "I need your help. Evander, he's left me. He said he can't handle the pressure, the rumors, the financial strain. I have nowhere to go." I hesitated for a moment, a flicker of pity stirring within me. But then I remembered the pain she had caused me, the betrayal, the lies. And the pity vanished, replaced by a cold, hard satisfaction. "I'm sorry, Genevieve," I said, my voice devoid of emotion. "I can't help you. You made your choices, and now you have to live with the consequences." I hung up the phone, feeling a strange sense of closure. My revenge was complete. Genevieve had lost everything: her husband, her lover, her career, her reputation. She was alone, miserable, and utterly broken. But as I sat there in my cottage, surrounded by the silence of the rain, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still missing. My revenge had brought me no joy, no peace. It had only left me feeling empty, hollow. I realized that I had become the very thing I hated: a bitter, vengeful person, consumed by anger and resentment. I had allowed Genevieve's betrayal to define me, to poison my soul. And then, as the first rays of dawn broke through the clouds, I made a decision. I decided to let go of the anger, to forgive Genevieve, not for her sake, but for my own. I sold the cottage, packed my bags, and set off on a journey of self-discovery. I traveled the world, met new people, and explored new cultures. I learned to paint, to play the guitar, to dance in the rain. I rediscovered my passions, my joy, my zest for life. It took time, but eventually I healed. I learned to love again, to trust again, to open my heart to the possibility of happiness. And one day I met a woman named Isolde, a kind, compassionate artist who saw the good in me, who loved me for who I was, not for who I used to be. With Isolde by my side, I finally found the peace I had been searching for. I realized that revenge is a hollow victory, that true happiness comes from within, from letting go of the past and embracing the future. Genevieve's betrayal had been a dark chapter in my life, a painful lesson learned. But it had also been a catalyst for change, a wake-up call that had ultimately led me to a better, brighter future. And for that I was grateful. Years later, I heard that Genevieve had remarried to a kind, unassuming man who worked as a gardener. They lived a quiet, simple life, far from the drama and chaos of her past. I hoped that she had finally found happiness, that she had learned from her mistakes and grown into a better person. As for me, I had found my own happiness, my own peace. And that in the end was the greatest revenge of all. I had moved on, I had thrived, and I had created a life filled with love, joy, and purpose. Genevieve's betrayal had not destroyed me. It had made me stronger. I learned the hard way that the best revenge isn't about hurting the other person. It's about healing yourself and building a life so fulfilling that their actions become insignificant in comparison. It's about choosing happiness, choosing forgiveness, and choosing to move forward with grace and resilience. It's about not letting someone else's choices define who you are or dictate your future. It's about reclaiming your own narrative and writing a new chapter filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. My story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable pain, we have the power to heal, to grow, and to create a life that is even more beautiful than we ever thought possible. It's a story of betrayal and revenge, but ultimately it's a story of forgiveness, redemption, and the enduring power of love. And to you, the reader, remember that no matter how deep the wounds, how dark the days, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Choose to forgive, choose to heal, and choose to live a life filled with joy and purpose. Your story is not over, it's just beginning. Make it a story worth telling.